Good morning, Zio here, and if you haven't liked the video and subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do it now, because I'm about to botch that entire opening sequence. So let's get into it, shall we? So, the Pokemon Company is apparently suing some anonymous people, apparently 1 to 3 of them, something like that, for leaks on Sword and Shield, and to me that is kind of new. Let me explain, because it's not a new concept for the Nintendo, anyway, to be suing people for copyright and stuff like that. That's why a lot of the emulator sites went down, because they were offering ROMs and stuff for free and donations and other things for, Nintendo products. Which is a shame, because, a lot of that stuff you just can't get anymore. There's a huge bulk of it, unless it was re-released, but even then, sometimes the re-release material isn't available anymore. I mean, you can get Chrono Trigger for the PlayStation, or the PS1. I'm sorry, let's clarify. For the PS1, it was re-released, which, by the way, is great. I enjoy that, but it was also re-released on the DS, and I wish they would take, the PS1 and the extras from the DS, because it's got, an extra dungeon or whatnot to it, and combine those into one, and maybe throw in a few other little extra things. 'Cause I love it when they do a remastering or whatever, and they include extras that weren't originally there. I'm just a sucker for that sort of thing. But, those are old systems. You can't really get those anymore. Granted, maybe you can find Chrono Trigger on the, PlayStation Store, or maybe that version of it, or maybe you can find it on, whatever Nintendo's eShop is doing on the Switch, the Super Nintendo version or the DS version, something like that. Maybe that's a thing. But they have this habit of suing people into the ground because, Thanks, Nintendo. I really hate it when you do stuff like that. But this right here, Pokemon Company is trying to sue Sword and Shield leakers, which is an interesting thing, because I don't think I've actually ever heard of the Pokemon Company actually suing people for things like this. Maybe they tried doing it before and I just didn't notice it. It's possible. I mean, if it did happen, feel free to let me know down in the comments and I'll take a look at it. And, that would be an interesting thing to see, to compare and contrast, say, what's going on right now to whatever happened then. But my real question on this is why? Nintendo, are you really that butthurt about the news of the National Dex not being included? Is that what we really have an issue with, Pokemon Company? Really? Because that's what it feels like to me. When it comes to leaks for the Pokemon games, it happens all the time. Every time there's a new game out, there are data mines, there are leaks, somebody gets a hold of a demo or something early, or maybe because of Nintendo or Pokemon companies, mess up, it's available on the eShop in Japan for whatever reason early, and then somebody snags it real quick and data mines the heck out of it, releasing all this information. We saw it in X and Y. We saw it in Alpha Sapphire. Anyway, the remakes. We saw it in Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon. The leaks were everywhere. When it comes to a new Pokemon game, you kind of have to remove yourself from the community if you want to be surprised, which of course is what I did with Sword and Shield. I didn't want to see all the leaks, and some of the new Pokemon concepts I quite enjoy, like Frostmoth. That thing, I love its design. It's like a discount Volcarona, unfortunately, but I still love its design. Things like that. I just didn't want to be spoiled for things. But the Pokemon community, the company, is of course suing, these Jane or John Does, because they don't know who it is, and to be totally honest, at least the courts are going to allow them to pursue discovery, which I'm pretty sure is going to have to be, they're going to have to subpoena, Discord for information, because that's where these things came from. Of course, they were posted in Discord, and then some videos popped up and stuff like that. Discord's going to have to give them IP information things. But of course, if they're using VPNs or anything else, it might make things a little difficult to track down. And personally, to be honest, Pokemon Company, I hope you never figure out who did them. Just plain and simple. Really don't. I'm not a fan of leaks, but at the same time, I don't feel they've done anything this egregious to be sued over. Especially when it happens every single game, because you can't keep a tight ship. That's not their fault at that point. That's yours. Although they did explain that they did keep a pretty tight lid on things, but apparently not good enough. And if you haven't gotten your coffee yet this morning, you should go ahead and get your coffee right now. We'll take a break. Right now, pause the video. Get yourself some coffee. You need it. It's great coffee. I'm not sure what it is, but it's great. It's a Colombian blow, straight from Colombia. It's good stuff. You should get some. But anyway, we're back to the leaks, of course. But yeah, the Pokemon Company has filed a lawsuit in Seattle court alleging 3 unnamed defendants. So I'm assuming they've got enough information to figure out that it's in Seattle somewhere. So, these people are located around there, because then you're going to have a lot of things with jurisdiction and other stuff, especially when you're in the U.S. court system, because, if somebody has done something and they live in, say, Florida, you kind of have to sue them and they did it in Florida, you kind of have to sue them in Florida for the most part. But if they, was in California and they did it and they live in Florida, you're going to have to sue them, I guess, if I'm getting this right, you got to sue them in California and then have them, force them to come back to the forum in which the act was committed to face trial and stuff like that. But I'm not exactly an attorney, so don't ask me. I mean, I'm just going to give my rudimental word that I can't use, take on this, of course, from what little I do know of things I've heard and stuff when it comes to law. So I'm not a lawyer. Don't ask for lawyer advice. There are other people well better for that, especially on the YouTube space. There are YouTube lawyers. Go find them. Avoid Twitter law, or law Twitter. They're horrible. But has filed a lawsuit in Seattle court alleging 3 unnamed defendants leaked Pokemon Sword and Shield information ahead of the game's release. Again, happens all the time. Like, seriously, there are always Pokemon leaks. The leakers, John/Jane Does 1 through 3, posted photos from the official Sword and Shield strategy guide, thereby sharing new details about unreleased Pokemon. Again, data miners were already doing that. Just saying. We had leaks and information at around this time. This was back November 1st, by the way. But yeah, defendants allegedly post stolen trade secrets. Trade secrets? Really? From the strategy guide on Discord on November 1st. Really? Trade secrets? Is that what we're going to go with? Of course, the biggest problem is they don't know who these people are yet. But they have identified a Discord account associated with the image, but that doesn't really tell you a whole lot. But employees apparently undergo background checks, store files on secure computers, restricted access to those files, traces and marks files. Anyone with access to the game or information on it requires a sign of a non-disclosure agreement, including any contract and production vendors. And when it comes to that, it is a NDA. That is a legal issue. Of course, if they can figure out who it is, and if it's somebody who signed an NDA, they can go after them legally for things, because that is essentially, it boils down to a piece of paper or something that you sign saying, I won't talk about this, say anything about this or show anything about this, or, so help me, whatever, or you can sue me. But, yeah, so, if these people did sign an NDA, I definitely see that the Pokemon company does have a legal leg to stand on when it comes to this. However, if it was somebody who did not sign an NDA, this might get really, really sticky really, really fast. And it would be really interesting to see how this works out, because, this is somebody who did post screenshots or whatever of a strategy guide. Now, in order to get a hold of something like that, you're probably going to have to be either A, involved in printing it, or B, involved in circulating it, or C, involved in creating it. So there's 3 paths here. And it's not the first time that somebody at like an Amazon distribution center or Walmart distribution center or whatever came across the boxes of a particular product, because we've seen it happen in the past with other games. And I think it actually happened with Pokemon, to be totally honest, years ago, where there's an open one there and they clicked, some screenshots and threw them up on Twitter or, Discord or whatever it was and circulated them around out there to people. So, it's not a new thing for that. And, Amazon may have signed an NDA, but unless Amazon then pushed that NDA out to every single one of their employees, the employee technically is, I'm pretty sure, is technically not liable for that NDA because they personally did not send or sign it, So that will muddy the water a lot. And honestly, I think, in my humble opinion, that it was probably somebody at one of the distribution centers of some kind, or maybe they got a lot into Walmart or something like that. Dude or woman or whoever saw it and was like, yeah, this game comes out like November 15th, right? The strategy guide comes out on like the 22nd or something. I'm gonna take some screenshots and share it with my friends, because they're huge Pokemon fanatics or whatever. They'll love this. And it's going to be incredibly hard, and I think a really uphill battle for Nintendo. Of course, Nintendo has the money. That's another issue when it comes to lawsuits, is whoever has the most money typically is going to come out with the most favorable outcome, because they can just bleed the other person completely dry. And honestly, I think when it comes to Nintendo throwing their legal weight around, stop it. Seriously, stop it. There's no need for it. It's not that big of a thing. However, they are pretty ticked off at the fact that everybody hates the fact that the National Dex is not in the game. Me being one of them. I did a whole video I did a video just going through why everybody's talking about Game Freak Clyde, and then discovered what was going on while doing it and was like, you're joking, right? Come on. But anyway, only production facility employees with proper security clearance have access to the strategy guide during the production process. Those with permission to access the secure areas are not permitted to bring in cellular phones or cameras. Well, it sounds like somebody failed at that point. But, seriously though. But if, say, it was an Amazon employee leaking the information, that's Amazon's fault for not properly securing the product. So it may turn into a, Game Freak versus, or Pokemon Company versus, Amazon or Walmart or something like that, which, again, would be an interesting thing to see. The Pokemon said it reacted swiftly to the leaks after the images were posted online, issued takedown requests in an effort to mitigate damage. But, again, with everything that comes online, you've got this thing known as the Streisand effect. You try to make it disappear, it doesn't disappear. It could have been just stuck to Discord and maybe a few other people making a video here or there about it, and that would be it. But then when you try to take it down, suddenly everybody's like, well, I gotta see this. Let's go take a look at what it is that Nintendo is hiding, or Game Freak, or whoever is hiding. But I think this passage here is probably the most funniest thing in this entire thing. Right here. Shortly after the strategy guide leaks, however, videos straight from the game were posted to the internet. How did that happen? It's almost as if somebody got a leaked copy or something somehow, or I don't know, somebody posted it on the online store a little early and data mined the heck out of it, or maybe they had a demo because you sent out demos. Did you send out demos? I'm pretty sure you sent out demos to places like IGN and stuff. And maybe somebody got a hold of one of those. A new hashtag GameFreakLied, started trending across America in response to the leaked videos and incomplete impressions of the game. No, listen. Your game comes out in like 15 days. It was complete and done at that point. And the Game Freak Lied thing, where is it? That is not what I'm looking for. Is because of this, the Pokedex. That it was because of the Pokedex, for one, having like 402 Pokemon on it, plus an additional 34 or whatever, because they are adding, apparently new data mine has shown that Bulbasaur and others are actually going to be in the game at some point, but that's still not the full dex. And the fact that you gave reason why you couldn't do the full dex was because you had to recreate everything from the ground up, which I guess could be theoretically possible now that I think about it, because they have that gigantic Pokemon system. Can't think of what it's called at the moment, but that they may have to actually redo some of the things and redo some of the stuff. But as for the regular Pokemon themselves, it wasn't necessary because you reused the 3DS assets. You reused their wired frames with a new spiffy coat of paint on it. And, you didn't have to recreate them all from the ground up as well. And the whole gigantic thing, stop that. Seriously. I mean, come on. I hate that whole system altogether for other reasons. But, that was... Why? Why was that a thing? You were already putting too much into it as it was. I know you want to innovate and things, but really? Gigantic? Anyway, I feel that it wasn't an incomplete impression of the game either. There were issues with it that people were discovering through playing the demos and stuff, and the demo copies that they had, where games were not properly doing things. The games, looked lackluster. It didn't have the complete Pokedex, which was where the Game Freak Lied thing came from, was their excuse for why they couldn't have a complete Pokedex. Honestly, if you would have just came out and said, hey, look, we've got over 800 and some Pokemon. We want to shorten the dex back down, go back to basics, restart, bring over a few of the oldies, the goodies, the favorites or whatever. So maybe cast a vote now kind of deal across all the things for the community, going, would you rather have Pikachu or Eevee, or Charizard or Charmander and Bulbasaur, and things like that, to see what were fan favorites, and go ahead and say, here's the winners, these are what's going in, this is going to be our brand new decks, we're going to build from here, the rest are out the door, and stuff like that. That probably would have came off a lot better. But no, you lied. You lied. That's why everybody was like, Game Freak lied. Had nothing to do with the strategy guide leaks, to be totally honest. It all came from the videos of you all lying. But the Pokemon Company is seeking compensational damages for the leaks, wrongful conduct, as well as monetary relief, punitive and exemplary damages, and injection relief. So, of course, that all relies on, whether or not they're going to be able to figure out who these people are, and whether or not these people signed an NDA, because if this is Jane Doe or John Doe or whoever who just happened to stumble across, a copy of the game and data mined it, or a copy of the game, the strategy guide, because they're suing for the strategy guide, and what it sounds like is they're lumping in the data mines as well into this and going, because of this, the data mines happened, therefore we have been damaged beyond belief as a result. I don't think that's gonna fly. That's what it feels like to me, is what they're trying to plead. But yeah, the data mines were coming. It happens every single game. There were rumors abound everywhere. And when people learned that, the Pokemon from previous generations that weren't making the cut was because, Game Freak decided to, I guess, get lazy about it, because what their explanation behind it was a big fat lie. That's when people got upset. And then personally, if I was defending these people or whatever, I would definitely make that case more than likely that, look, these things came out, but they didn't do anything. People looked at it, people were like, oh, cool, that's they were talking about it, finding the positive stuff or whatever. People were going on about it and things, and then taking the other stuff that they're trying to lump in there and go, look, other people data mine this and put these videos out. These were not my clients. Game Freak lied, came from all that. Had nothing to do with, 15 pages of a strategy guide. But that's just me. Anyway, what do you think? Let me know down in the comments below, and I will talk to you later. See ya.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, smash that like button, and always subscribe for more. And of course, there are other videos floating around somewhere on the screen, so click one of those and see if you can find something that suits your fancy. Till then, I'll see you later. Bye.